Hello, I am Steve Dillingham, Director of the U.S. Census Bureau. As we kick off our first major field operation for the 2020 census, address canvassing or listing, the Census Bureau is dedicated to ensuring that we are on track and ready to accomplish the mission of the 2020 census, to count everyone once, only once, and in the right place. The robust design for the 2020 census uses 21st century technologies. We have made many improvements and innovations over the past decade, including better technologies for canvassing neighborhoods and developing complete and updated address listings and maps, more language assistance than ever before. We have expanded customer assistance phone centers with instant assistance in English and 12 non-English languages, and multilingual resources that reach 99.6% of our population. Hiring over 1,500 partnership specialists, more than ever before, to recruit more than 300,000 partners to help us reach hard-to-count populations. Better technologies and more efficient processes for census takers. A communications campaign that includes new ways to reach people and communities, including the hard-to-count populations, and advanced information technologies, security safeguards, and privacy protections to strengthen confidentiality protections. The census is important, easy, and safe. It is important because the count is used to apportion seats in the House of Representatives, to allocate hundreds of billions in federal, state, and local government funds for important programs and services, and to guide critical decisions by communities, governments at all levels, businesses, and others. It is easy because for the first time, you can self-respond online, by phone, or on paper through the mail. It is safe because we're using the best technologies and practices to protect data confidentiality and reduce cybersecurity risk. I want to remind everyone that the Census Bureau is legally required to keep all responses strictly confidential. We do not share confidential, personally identifiable information with any other agency, including law enforcement or anyone else. Finally, we are currently improving and expanding administrative records for enhancing our data and statistics. Now here is Deirdre Bishop, Chief of our Geography Division, with more on our address canvassing operations.
Thanks, Steve. When dealing with a diverse nation of over 330 million people, living in more than 140 million housing units, the challenges of conducting a census can be quite complex. Our goal is to conduct a complete and accurate census. But before we can do that, we need to establish where to count. We need to make sure we have all the correct addresses to reach everyone. How do we do that? First, by working with the United States Postal Service. This decade, we added more than 5.3 million new addresses using data from the USPS. Next, we validated over 106 million addresses using information from tribal, state, and local governments. Finally, we conduct the address canvassing operation. In the past, the Census Bureau would wait until the end of the decade to do most of this work. In preparation for the 2010 census, we hired approximately 150,000 people to walk around every block in the nation, validating our address list and maps. Now, with the advancement of technology and innovation over the past 10 years, we have been able to accomplish most of this work in the office. We were able to validate 65% of the addresses using satellite imagery, a massive accomplishment for us. This means that in preparation for the 2020 census, we will only have to hire about 40,000 people to validate the remaining 35% of the addresses in the field, about 50 million addresses nationwide. Thanks to advances in technology and the extent of our partnerships with tribal, federal, state, and local government partners, we have our most complete address list and maps ever. This will lead to an accurate count of the population and housing for the 2020 census. Now, for more on the in-field portion of our address canvassing operation, here's our Chicago Regional Director, Marilyn Sanders.
I'm here in Chicago on 14th and State Street in the South Loop. It's a neighborhood with a lot of complex housing units. Our goal is to make sure we know all of the addresses so we can count everyone once, only once, and in the right place. This operation will be conducted across the country, so you may see our employees walking your streets with a Census Bureau badge, laptop, and bag as they verify addresses. It's critical we have a complete master address list so we can reach every person living in the country to invite them to respond to the 2020 census. It's a massive undertaking. However, our recruitment efforts have been highly successful so far. With the challenges of hiring our temporary workforce in a strong economy with very low unemployment, more than 600,000 people have applied online using our online recruiting and assessment tool. And over 480,000 applicants have fully completed the assessment, far surpassing our goal at this time. We currently have many partnerships in place across our nation and many on the way. Partners who are energized and dedicated and committed, and they serve in communities all over the country. We project to reach approximately 300,000 partnerships at the national, state, and local levels. We appreciate all those who are assisting us in undertaking this vital public service. Ultimately, the success of the census depends on everyone's participation. And it's important to remember, when you respond to the census, you shape your future and the future of your community.